Concepts with Karan. Today I have a very special guest and a good friend of mine, Amit Tripathi, the CIO of Fixed Income at Nippon Mutual Fund. Welcome, Amit. आपका शो पे स्वागत है and I'm very happy that you made time to come and talk to me about concepts about fixed income जो कि आज की डेट में बहुत मायने रखते हैं. So अमित, मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे यही है कि दुनिया में काफी उथल-पुथल चल रही है. There's a lot happening in the world and certainly a lot happening around the fixed income world. We're obviously hearing a lot about global inflation, etc., and the dollar index is at its all-time high. उस केस में fixed income becomes an important but a volatile asset. Can we start with your views around that, and then we'll come to what's the impact in India?
Yes. So, let me start by accepting the fact that we live in much more volatile times today than what was the case possibly pre-COVID. Okay. I think the world post-COVID has generally been more volatile, and the volatility, the optics of that volatility has only increased in the last 6 to 8 months. It has not come down. Everyone hoped that, all the excesses of COVID period would simply vanish and leave no negative impact on the big picture, so to say. But that was a wish. Obviously, that's not how the world works. Every excess that you commit in the past comes to haunt you in future, which is what the world has seen in the last 6 to 12 months, effectively speaking.
Absolutely.
But I think the best thing about financial assets, and I can talk in general, and which is applicable as much to fixed income, is that volatility is always a function of time. Okay? And it's an inverse relationship in terms of the time that you spend. The more time that you spend in a financial asset, be it equity or be it fixed income, the net impact of volatility on the performance of that asset progressively keeps on coming down. So volatility can spook returns depending on the product in which you are for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, sometimes even 3 years. But once you're looking at asset allocation from a long-term horizon and doing asset allocation from a long-term horizon, the residual net impact of volatility actually tends to reduce significantly over longer periods of time.
Absolutely.
So we simply have to accept the volatility that exists today. We have to acknowledge the fact that, which is very important, that we don't know a lot of things today. Say all of us, including old people such as me. So I've been in the market since 1997, and if I can drag you also into that conversation, you have been in the market for fairly long. But even in the last 20-25 years, globally we have not seen this kind of inflationary environment. So this is an inflationary environment that we have only read about in books as to what used to happen between 70s and 90s. We did have our share of high inflation in India between 2010 and 16, 17.
Right.
But that was India-centric. So possibly the good news for India, if you ask me, is that what you see and what you talk about in a global sense, we have seen that happening in India earlier, and we know how to deal with it.
Correct. I totally agree.
How to deal with it in the local context, but I don't think the world knows how to deal with it in the global context. So a lot of things that are being done right now are being done with a specific view that this will help bring inflation down, but that story has not been fully written, or the story has not fully played out. So the best thing for all of us to do across financial assets is to recognize the fact that we are in volatile time. We will continue to see some volatility going forward, and hence time spent in a product is going to be my best friend going forward, rather than a view that I take on as asset class.
No, I completely endorse every word you're saying. In fact, the point you just made कि 25-30 साल में the West has seen inflation for the first time with this degree, जो कि शायद 70 और 80 के दशक में उन्होंने देखी होगी. So this generation is dealing with inflation for the first time, in a way. So what does it mean for assets globally? मतलब तो खरीदें क्या?
ये तो सबसे बड़ी मीनिंग तो इसमें ये होती है कि हर फाइनेंशियल एसेट को अगर हम बहुत बेसिक तरीके से सोचे करें, हर फाइनेंशियल एसेट को हम प्रेजेंट वैल्यू के तौर पे देखते हैं, एंड प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज अ फंक्शन ऑफ डिस्काउंट रेट, चाहे वो इक्विटी हो या कमोडिटी हो या फिक्स्ड इनकम हो। हर फाइनेंशियल एसेट का जो प्राइस है आज की डेट में, वो प्राइस इज बेस्ड ऑन अ सीरीज ऑफ कैश फ्लोज इन गोइंग फॉरवर्ड,
बिल्कुल,
एंड दिस सीरीज ऑफ कैश फ्लोज नीड्स टू गेट डिस्काउंटेड बाय अ डिस्काउंट रेट, राइट?
करेक्ट, बिल्कुल,
In the most rudimentary sense, high inflation means potentially high discount rate going forward.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल,
And we are still mentally in that framework globally that ये discount rate का problem तो 6 महीने का है या 12 महीने का है, right? What we have to mentally keep in mind is that this discount rate problem or this so-called inflation problem may reduce going forward, but may not completely go out in the next 12 months. See, it suits our conversations whenever we say that, Fed interest rate बढ़ा देगा तो recession आ जाएगा, recession आ जाएगा तो interest rate नीचे आ जाएगा, interest rate नीचे आ जाएगा तो discount rate नीचे आ जाएगा और सब asset price संभल जाएगा. This is a commentary that gives us comfort. That is why we use this commentary so often, right? सबके मन में, मतलब आप मेरे से पूछो मेरी सबसे बड़ी दिली तमन्ना क्या है? I'm being very negative here, but मेरी सबसे बड़ी दिली तमन्ना है कि यूएस में किसी टाइप का रिसेशन आ जाए बहुत अगले 6 महीने में, ताकि एसेट प्राइसेस संभल जाएं.
बिल्कुल, आप सही कह रहे हो, आप सही,
ताकि करेंसी संभल जाए. हमको एक मॉडरेट रिसेशन चाहिए दुनिया में ताकि संभल जाए, राइट? बट दैट्स द बेस केस सिनेरियो. नाउ लेट्स वर्क विद द बेस केस सिनेरियो, बट कीप द अदर सिनेरियो इन माइंड व्हिच सेज दैट maybe the discount rates will be slightly higher for long. They may not go up more than here or more than what is priced in, but they will not. But they will stay longer. They will not come down. So let's work with that kind of a mindset when we are looking at assets, asset pricing, and also the time horizon of our investment. That is what I think is the most logical thing to do.
In that scenario, going by this scenario where the discount rate doesn't go up but then continues for a longer period, उस केस में what does this mean for us in India, assuming that also that perhaps now inflation is getting a bit more tamed out here, so while globally it may be running away or it's now stable, but अपने यहाँ पे trends are looking better. So how do you play the two pieces out, and what is your suggestion for investors and distributors who are looking to play fixed income right now? And I don't mean play in a manner where it is a short term view. I'm saying कहाँ पे आपको yield curve पे opportunity अच्छी दिख रही है जहाँ पे निवेश किया जा सकता है?
तो सर निवेश ना मेरे एक प्रोडक्ट से लिंक्ड है, तो इसलिए मैं उस प्रोडक्ट को चाहूंगा, but I'll come to that slightly later. मेरे हिसाब से देखिए fixed income is very simple if you look at it with a slightly medium termish and long termish lens. Okay? As long as you have reasonable expectations out of fixed income returns which are in line with the environment, 90% of your fixed income returns in the long term come from carry.
Yeah.
Okay? The key word here is long term. तो आपको बहुत ज्यादा आज की डेट में इंटरेस्ट रेट मूवमेंट पे व्यू देने की जरूरत नहीं है. जब आप लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर हो तो आप ये मान के चलो कि 90% रिटर्न मेरा कैरी से ही आएगा. 10% रिटर्न अगर मेरी किस्मत अच्छी हुई तो मेरे को कभी आगे चल के कैपिटल गेन मिल जाए तो मिल जाए, ना मिले तो मुझे दुखी होने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज 90% रिटर्न मेरा एनी विच वेज आ रहा है.
बिल्कुल.
So the way I would look at fixed income at this point in time is look at products which can give me reasonable carry over longer periods of time. The more visibility I have around that reasonable carry, the better off I am in that fixed income asset category. The good thing that has happened obviously since COVID in the Indian context is that post-COVID जो rates नीचे गए थे because of easy monetary policy, काफी कुछ वो rates वापस ऊपर आ चुके हैं. Now you might say that residual अभी कोई बोलेगा पूरा आ गया, कोई बोलेगा नहीं अभी 20 basis point बाकी है, कोई बोलेगा नहीं 30 basis point बाकी है. That's a matter of conjecture, argument, etc. But suffice to say that 70-75% at least of what needs to have happened has happened, especially when you look at the yield curve as far as India is concerned. So with that kind of an environment, it is logical to say that over the next 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 years, depending on what kind of product you are looking at, if your product is suitable for a 3-year time horizon, then 3 years. If your product is suitable for a 10-year time horizon, then 10 years. But whichever product you are looking at, in that respective time category, the suitable product will give you 90% returns from carry. So that's the good news. And carry is now reasonable. It may not be 2011-12 levels, but we are not in that inflation environment either, right? Our tolerance levels for inflation, let's all remember, have come down structurally in the last 10 years. Today, we consider 6% as high inflation. 10 years back, 10% was considered as high inflation, right?
Correct.
So, if you think that, let's forget that inflation will come down. Let's say inflation does not come down. Okay, let's say that 6% is a steady state inflation number, just argumentatively speaking. Okay, if 6% is a steady state inflation number and I get 7.5% on any asset with a high degree of visibility, I don't think I will be an unhappy investor as long as that's a fixed income asset with very low risk.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's the big picture, that assets are providing positive real returns in most cases today, which is what matters in fixed income. And to that extent, just look at your time horizon and look at a suitable product in line with your time horizon. 90% of your returns will come from carry, which will end up giving you positive real returns. Anything else which you are looking to do in terms of risk seeking will obviously happen by differentiated investments, whether it is in equities or alternate assets and all that, but that's a different risk return ball game altogether. I'm talking purely fixed income, plain vanilla, simple.
No, I think the point you make is very valid कि 90% तो carry से ही आने वाला है product में, और इस बारी carry अच्छा मिल रहा है. So अगर आप बस सिर्फ carry खेल लो and over the medium term, then you are actually beating inflation. And again, the point you also make is very valid, that you're actually not taking additional risk because these are almost zero risk assets.